Welcome to Cooking Classic. I'm Jane Adonizio in the kitchen with Chef Jake Hizny. Of course, we are at the Luzerne County Community College Paglianiti Culinary Institute, of which you're a recent graduate. Tell me about your association with LCC.
Oh, geez, I've been with LCC for just about 20 years. I started way back when teaching food safety, and then gradually worked into teaching some of the culinary arts courses. And I'm a recent graduate this past May.
Well, congratulations to you.
Yeah.
What are we going to be making today?
Today we're going to make a dish, it's called Chicken Bruschetta.
Okay.
And the process here, it'll be a breaded chicken breast that we're going to saute. And then we're going to have some toppings that we'll saute on top with some cheese, and we finish it in the oven.
All right, classic Italian dish, bruschetta, right?
Bruschetta,
okay.
yes.
Well, we're going to get started with this in just a minute. Cooking Classic will be right back.
Hi, my name is Beth, and I'm a culinary student here at Luzerne County Community College with your culinary tip of the day. What I'm going to be doing this evening is finishing off a Black Forest cake. I'm going to start by masking the sides of the cake with chocolate curls. So you basically just pick up the chocolate and press it into the icing on the sides of the cake as you go. You don't want to press too hard, it'll stick by itself. Chocolate is just a bittersweet chocolate curls. It actually comes like this, so we don't chop it ourselves. You can actually buy it packaged as chocolate curls. So what I'm going to do next is pipe a little bit of the whipped cream icing onto a bigger cake square, and that gives your cake a better base for decorating. Okay, what I'm going to do next is mark the top of the cake with the edge of a knife for portion sizes, and you do that by lightly pressing in on the top and making a mark. Now what you're going to do is pipe a shell border along the base of the cake using the whipped cream icing in a pastry bag. You don't want to fill your bag too full or it becomes harder to do. So you just go around the cake, you push forward slightly and then pull back, and that gives you your nice shell border. Next, you're gonna pipe rosettes on the top of the cake on each piece. You wanna start with one in the center for a cherry as a garnish, and then do one on each piece. You do this just by swirling the bag around. Takes some practice, but it's not that hard. And lastly, you just want to garnish it with cherries because a Black Forest cake is filled with a cherry filling. So one in the center and then one on each piece. You want to make sure you push down and seat the cherries so they don't fall off. And that is what your finished product should look like. And that's the culinary tip of the day. Bon appetit.
Welcome back to Cooking Classic. I'm Jane Adonizio in the kitchen with Chef Jake. Chef Jake, I know you're all about food safety, and we're just about to get started here on our chicken bruschetta.
Yes, one of the things I did on our break, I actually put a pair of gloves on. It's so important when you're working with raw proteins, especially chicken, that you wash your hands, make sure you have the gloves on, so there's no cross-contamination of any type.
Okay, well, we're ready to get started then.
Cool. What I have here is a boneless, skinless chicken breast. And as you can see, it's not even. One side is thicker than the other.
Right.
So we're going to go through a process here where we're going to pound it out so it's even all the way across. And that way when we cook, everything's done at the same time. So the process is basically we're going to take the chicken breast, and I have plastic wrap.
Okay.
And you can put this down, and I have a mallet to pound it out.
Okay.
If you're at home, you can actually even use a can or something that has some weight.
Canned good?
A canned good to pound it out if you don't have a mallet. But basically, you're just going to pound it out to make it even all the way across, that it's the same thickness. So sometimes you really have to give it a good process there to get that down where you need it. And once you get it to that point, then you would come and take this out of the film wrap.
Mm-hmm. You can see how nice and thin you got that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you can see it's one thickness all the way across now. So that's going to saute up very nicely and evenly as we go in that process. So the next thing we're going to do with this is we're going to take the chicken breast and I'm going to bread it.
Okay.
And it's a very standard breading process. We're going to do flour, egg, and I have an Italian breadcrumb, a seasoned breadcrumb. And the process is very easy. We're going to take the breast and we're going to dust it in the flour.
Just a little bit on both sides, make sure it's all covered.
Right.
Okay.
And that helps the egg stick to the breast. If you just put it in the egg wash, the breading wouldn't stick to it. Okay.
Right.
So what you're going to do then is kind of pound any excess flour out, because we don't want any excess. And then it would go into the egg wash. And we're just going to give a nice little wash there to make sure everything's coated. And then usually what I do is just kind of hold it above the egg wash so the excess egg drips off back into the bowl. And then we're going to bread it.
It's amazing how one piece of chicken can get so large when it's so flat and even.
So a lot of times, this was like a 6-ounce chicken breast. It looks like it's a 10-ounce chicken breast. So there's a little trick from the restaurant industry sometimes to make things look better or bigger. A lot of times you do it for presentation purposes, really.
Absolutely.
But when we cook this, it's going to shrink back down, and you'll end up with a very nice size portion to go along with. So at this point, we're ready to saute.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm just going to move these over here a little bit.
Okay. Can I help with anything?
Yes. There's 2 oils there.
Okay.
The one in the back is frying oil.
This one?
Yes. And you can pour just a little bit in.
Okay.
Oh, a little bit more.
A little bit more, okay.
That's good.
Okay.
So we're going to get this nice medium type heat, let the oil heat up, and then we're going to saute it.
Okay. Okay. So this is the first part of the bruschetta, correct?
This is the first step.
Okay.
So this is something that, I'm going to do obviously just one portion here, but you could do this if you have a party or guests coming over, or even for your family. It's something that you could do in the afternoon.
Ahead of time.
Ahead of time. Fry them off, put them on a sheet pan, put the topping on and the cheese, and when your family comes home or you have guests coming over and you want to spend more time with them instead of being in the kitchen, then you could just put it in the oven to finish it.
What a great idea, because by the time you do put them in the oven, the chicken is already cooked through and you're just warming it, really.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. What a great idea for a party or like you said, just on a weeknight when you're coming home.
Yeah. This is something that you could have done it, and it's quite easy to finish.
Okay. Just wait until that oil gets nice and warm.
Yeah. So a lot of times what I do is just take a little of the egg mixture.
Okay.
And
to see if it's
hot enough, and it's just starting to cook. So we could turn it down just a tad. The
Okay.
oil's ready to put in. So we're going to take that chicken breast and just lay it into the pan.
And how long does it saute?
We're probably going to do about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes on each side,
Okay.
just to give it a nice golden brown. We don't want to make it too brown because it is going to go back into
Right,
the oven.
right.
So if it's too dark and you put it in there, it's going to get very dark.
Right. And do you only turn it once? Is that the key?
That's it.
Okay.
One
Okay.
time, you want it to set in that oil and fry, and in this case we have breadcrumbs so they get nice and golden brown.
Right.
If I kept flipping it, the breadcrumbs are going to fall off.
Right, right.
Okay.
All right, so patience is the key here.
Patience is the key here. So at this point, maybe you have a cup of coffee, or if it's at night, it could be a glass of wine while
Okay,
you're cooking.
right.
Like Julia Child, she
Right.
loved to cook with wine.
Sometimes she even put in the food, right?
Absolutely. So you can see it's
Oh,
starting to
beautiful.
brown up nice, right? And it's probably not even 2 minutes. And we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing on this side.
That's beautiful. And because it does cook so fast, right?
Right.
It's so thin.
So you want to cook on a low to medium heat. You don't want it too high because the breadcrumbs will burn.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to let that saute a little bit. And I know that when we come back, we're going to make a beautiful topping for this bruschetta, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Chef Jake will be right back. Cooking Classic continues in a moment. That looks great.
Hello, I'm Erika, a culinary student here at Luzerne County Community College with your culinary tip of the day. Today we're going to be making fresh whipped cream. This is something I learned here at the Culinary Institute. It's really easy and delicious. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 cups of heavy cream in your stainless steel mixer with a wire whip attachment. If you don't have a standing mixer, you could use just a bowl and a whisk or a hand mixer, whatever is easier for you. And you're going to do this on medium speed until it starts to form your soft peaks. Once it starts to form soft peaks, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you're going to beat that until it gets a stiff peak. Okay, and we're right there now. And you can tell that it's a stiff peak. And when you take it off, the peaks stand up straight, like that. They don't fall over. Come over. I want to try and move this out of here a little bit. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a strawberry shortcake for you. We have some pound cake and some fresh strawberries. A dollop of fresh whipped cream, and then 2 mint leaves. And that's your culinary tip of the day. Bon appetit.
Welcome back to Cooking Classic. I'm here with Chef Jake Hizny, and before the break, he's making one of his favorite recipes, chicken bruschetta. We sauteed this beautiful piece of chicken lightly on each side, and now we're
going to make the topping for it.
Okay.
Okay. And the topping here, the ingredients, I have today just sliced some grape tomatoes, but plum tomatoes will work. Any type of tomato, as long as the portion size isn't really big. You want it to be on a smaller. I have some fresh basil leaf that I did a cut known as chiffonade. It's kind of very stringy. Okay, we have some white cheddar cheese. I got fresh garlic.
Yes,
chopped.
I know that. I can
You can
smell that, right?
one. And some green onion, salt and pepper.
Okay.
A very easy topping that we're going to do. So I'm going to turn the heat on.
Can you also use canned tomatoes if you don't have fresh?
You
Or
can,
diced?
You can use like a diced canned
Okay.
tomato, drain them out of the
Okay.
juice, but it works much better with
I'm
fresh.
sure it does, I'm sure.
So the pan's heated up. If you could give me a little hand there with,
Sure.
this is olive oil that I'm using.
All
So
right.
you could pour some in for me. That's
How's that?
perfect.
Okay.
And we're just going to let that heat up just a tad. And, we'll go through the steps. I'm going to add some garlic and saute it. And we just want to kind of let it get a little bit lightly brown.
Okay.
Maybe not even to that stage. And then we'll add the rest of the ingredients.
Okay.
Because we don't want it to burn either.
Right.
Not a good taste.
Right.
So at this point, I would just take a little bit of garlic. And again, like any recipe, you could add or delete. If you like
According to your
garlic,
taste, right?
you could add more. So you can see we got a nice heat on it. I might turn the heat down just a tad on it. And so it's sauteing. You could get some of the aroma already,
so
right?
good.
So we're going to take some of the grape tomatoes and add those right in.
As long as everybody in your party is having garlic,
We're
you're
good.
okay, right?
Yep. And we're just going to kind of saute it around just a little bit. And we want them to start to soften.
Okay.
We don't want them too mushy, just to soften a little bit.
Nice. Now, is this the way you did the basil? Is this with a knife, or did you?
It is with a knife.
Right, okay.
I took the stems off and just used the leaves.
Okay.
And I laid them on top of each other and kind of rolled it like a
I
cigarette.
see, I see.
And then sliced it into those things. So we got a nice saute going on there. At this point, I'm going to add some green onion. And I'm going to season it just with a little salt and pepper. And let that kind of work in a little bit. And you can see it's very easy.
It is easy.
And I've actually already have taken this topping and just boiled a little fresh pasta and tossed it with the
Right.
pasta. So it has many uses other than just as a topping.
And
with
you
this.
could even put it on like an Italian bread that has been toasted, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, right.
Same,
Okay.
same ingredients. At this point, I'm going to add some basil. Because when you're using fresh herbs, you really want to kind of add them right at the end
I
and not
see.
in the beginning.
Okay. That's a skill I really want to learn.
You'll be able to do that, no problem. So at this point, I can smell the basil already cooking into it. Our topping is finished.
Really? Okay.
It's that quick. So we have that nice chicken. We're going to take this topping and just pour it
Oh, it's
all on
beautiful.
top. And then I have some white cheddar cheese. You
Okay.
could use any type of cheese. If you want
Sure.
to use mozzarella, whatever your favorite. Sometimes I'll mix mozzarella, provolone, cheddar.
Okay.
But normally I use white cheddar. And all I'm going to do with this is give it a nice coating of cheese on the top. And
So that's the point at which, if you were making this ahead of time, that's when you would stop, refrigerate it, and then pull it out when you're ready to
absolutely.
start bake. Okay.
So it's ready. At this point, it's ready. If I have guests coming later, I could put film wrap over it, put it in the refrigerator, and it's done.
All right. Well, we're going to taste it in just a minute after you bake it for a little bit.
Right.
So stay with us. Cooking Classic. We'll return in just a moment. Okay, so now this is ready.
Hello, my name is Rob. I'm a student here at Luzerne County Community College, and this is your culinary tip of the day. Today I'm going to make a stromboli. First we're going to have to stretch out the dough. We lay down a little bit of flour. You can do this freehand or you can do this with a rolling pin. I choose to use a pin. You want to go a rectangular shape. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect or not. You're just going to seam it together. This is something a home cook could do. Even if you don't know how to make your own dough, you can buy some at the store, it's no problem. We have 2 blends of cheeses here. We have a provolone and we have Wisconsin cheddar. We're going to lay some of that down. We have a variety of meats here. We have some ham, pepperoni, salami. You can use anything you like, mushrooms, sausage. We have to leave some space on the sides so we don't leak. And you kind of want to center it so that you can roll it up and over. Then we're going to finish up with some sweet peppers, a blend of red and green, some marinara, whatever kind you prefer, and a little bit more cheese. You really don't want that sauce to touch the dough. It'll tear your stromboli and you'll have a big mess all over your oven. Then we're just going to roll it up and over, like so. We're going to get rid of those ugly sides. You have to crimp it. If you don't, it'll just explode. You want to make a seam. And then you want to make some cuts in the top to let that air release. And now we're going to place it in the oven. We already have one ready for you. It's been in the oven for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. And now we're going to take the ready-to-eat product over here and plate. And that's your culinary tip of the day. Bon appetit.
Welcome back to Cooking Classic. Chef Jake has been teaching us a lot during this show, all about how to make a beautiful chicken bruschetta. We're just about ready to take it out of the oven.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So we are going to open this up. And this is the one that we put in before we went to break. Okay.
Looks great.
Yeah. And I've also, remember we talked about if you were having a dinner party, I have one created with 3 on a sheet pan.
Spectacular.
Okay, we could close that up. And at this point, we're ready to plate up.
Okay.
On our break, I had some sauteed green beans and oven roasted potato. And we are just going to take this chicken now right off this pan.
Looks so good, and it wasn't that difficult to make. You just take the steps step by step.
Not at all. And a lot of times we'll take, because this was olive oil and the
Sure.
ingredients that it was sauteed on, and just kind of pour it over the top
yeah.
as a little extra flavor.
Absolutely.
So that's our dish, chicken bruschetta. And I think the only thing left that we could do is we have to taste it.
I know. Looks terrific. All right. Let's see these little plates here. Wow, Chef, that looks terrific. Nice. The cheese is all melted, and you
Yeah,
really don't
nice.
have to bake it that long, just 15 or 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes, and it'll be ready to go.
Wow. Terrific.
So what do you think? Let's try it?
Bon appetit.
Yes.
Oh, here. That's
Thank
for you.
you.
Sure. And the flavor's so good together.
They all blend nicely, and you could pick them up individually, the fresh tomato and the garlic and the basil,
So good.
and it just, to me, it's kind of a version of chicken parmesan without the red sauce. This is a much kind of lighter topping to it.
And so fresh, so good. Any
Yep.
time of year. Oh, thank you so much, Chef. I
Oh, you're
picked up a
welcome.
lot of tips today.
Oh, thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you. And thanks for being with us on this edition of Cooking Classic. We'll see you next time. Now we can eat.